Intrusive thoughts, what are they and are they harmful towards us? Hi everyone, welcome to Anxiety Talks. If you don't know me, my name's Dean. I'm the founder of DLC Anxiety, the world's largest anxiety support community, with over 1.2 community members over on Instagram. Today we're going to talk about the dreaded intrusive thoughts. Now, intrusive thoughts, what are they? Firstly, intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts that happen on a regular basis. They're usually completely disturbing and completely against everything that we stand for, our morals. They really try and make us wonder, why are we dealing with these intrusive thoughts? Why do they keep occurring? And it can get very scary and it can create more anxiety. Now, let's break it down. Firstly, what are intrusive thoughts? Can you give an example of an intrusive thought? An intrusive thought could be anything. You could have similar anxiety thought patterns that could be an intrusive thought, such as, I'm going to die because of this anxiety. That thought becomes stuck, and the more you think about it, the more your anxiety raises. Then you can have other intrusive thoughts, which are thoughts of violence, sexual thoughts. There's lots of different intrusive thoughts, but there's one thing that's in common. And that's with all anxiety thoughts, which is, and all thoughts in general, thoughts are not facts. Say it again with me. Thoughts are not facts. Just because we think something doesn't make it any more real. Just because we think something and then we have a bodily response to it, such as raised anxiety, doesn't make it any more real. Two people can have the exact same thought with a different reaction just because of the behavior towards the thought. So one person could think, oh my god, I'm going to die, and then step back and say, oh, that's just a thought. There's no truth behind that. There's no evidence behind that. And then their anxiety will lower down. Whereas another person could be ruminating on that thought and think, oh my god, I'm going to die. And then they can attach to the physical symptoms of anxiety, the raised anxiety. So then they'll notice that their heart's racing. So then that'll almost be a confirmation bias of, oh, my heart's racing, so this must be true. This intrusive thought must be true. It's telling me I'm going to die. Now my heart's racing. Am I going to get a heart attack? So there's one thing and one thing only which we can do with an intrusive thought, and that is change our behavior towards the thought. Thoughts are not facts. Change your behavior towards the thought. And once you change your behavior towards the thought and separate yourself from your thoughts, you are not your thoughts. That's a really important message to bang home, that you are not your thoughts. And when we look at the sexual intrusive thoughts or the violence intrusive thoughts, we really need to break it down and look what's happening. So we get this sexual intrusive thought and it raises our anxiety. What's the reason that our anxiety raises? Well, our anxiety raises when our brain sees a threat or perceives a threat. So if our anxiety is raising because of these intrusive thoughts, that should give you so much comfort in the fact that the brain is thinking that this thought is a danger. The brain is thinking that this thought we need to get away from. We need to create more anxiety and move away from this thought, because the thought is nothing to do with us. It goes completely against our morals and everything that we stand of. So then what happens is the brain says, hey, that is not us. We need to create anxiety. We need to move away from this. This is the threat. So never ever believe that your intrusive thoughts have a meaning, because they don't. And like I said, if you have an anxious response to your intrusive thoughts, then that really shows that is completely against anything that you believe in, your morals, your values, etc. That doesn't mean that if you don't have an anxious response to it, that the intrusive thought that you're getting is real. Always disassociate yourself from the thoughts. One great method that I use is journaling. I find journaling really helpful because it gets the thoughts from in the mind when we're thinking inwards, when we're ruminating on these racing thoughts, these intrusive thoughts. It gets them from in the mind onto a piece of paper. It almost takes a weight off your shoulders. And anyone can do this. Literally write down your intrusive thought, write down your anxious thought, and then next to it, write down a more plausible thought. Not a positive thought, not something completely opposite to it, just a more neutral thought. So, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack. I'd put next to it, well, I'm anxious and there's no evidence I'm having a heart attack. Or if it's a sexual or violent intrusive thought, I'd write down, I'm having an anxious response every time I think of this thought. That shows that this thought is not me. That shows that this thought is not real. I can choose to reject or replace this thought. Always know you have the option to either accept, reject, or replace your thought. Because when we think, the mind listens and the body reacts. So when we think an intrusive thought, the mind listens and says, hey, we think this is a threat. And the body reacts by creating anxiety. Let's start to replace or reject these thoughts. You have the power. You can do this. You are not your thoughts. I can't wait to see all your progress. Let us know what intrusive thoughts you deal with in the comments. Let us know what you want to speak about next week. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you next week.